Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had a couple of questions, so I'll put them on, and then maybe there'll be others. And, I heard a couple of points raised, and I just wanted to get some clarity on a couple of matters. One of the items was with respect to maximum guests that you could expect. I wondered if you could maybe just comment a bit on that. What type of maximum guests you might expect during a full inn, like when the inn is full and you have an event going on. And the other concern that I wanted some questions on was what's the use of building number 7 as the artist center, and what's going to go on inside that building? Those are a couple that jumped out at me, so I'll leave it at that. And if there are others, but I'd like to start with those if that's okay. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Take the last one first. Building 7, the Artist Center, dedicated solely for artist studios, teaching of sculpture, teaching of art, ironworks, certainly no art distribution center planned for it. Come off the table very early. And the total building is dedicated for art studio and learning area, teaching area for a number of things, from picture framing to art to sculpture to many of the artists that people experience and want to experience, not only as residents but as students. The only concern that I may offer with the planning report in regards to that is I would request that the staff and the developer check the number on that, because there seems to be a discrepancy between the presentation of the new site plan and the planning report in regards to the draft zoning bylaw. And I think we have to get together and make sure that those numbers are correct before it goes to further discussion or further committee decision. In regards to the maximum use of the site, one of the issues that the owners did concern themselves with very much so is how much property do we protect in regards to the environmental protection, and how much do we set aside for urban type development, commercial type development, residential type development. And when we met with the consultants, traffic consultants for instance, it was determined at that time that this site had to be properly managed from a traffic circulation point of view and a traffic parking point of view if we were going to preserve the site, most of the site for environmental protection. So an appreciation of that, 12% of the site is dedicated for urban commercial development, and the rest is open space for conservation. If we want to retain that type of ratio, we've got to be very, very diligent in how we manage the existing parking lots on the site. It's going to be valet parking by way. How we manage the underground parking and the use of that, and how we manage the other satellite parking areas that we have proposed for the site. In determining that, it's directly linked to occupancy costs and the use of the site. In our best guess, working with the PPF, we don't see more than 300 people on that site at any one time. That's if we're operating all the events.
Could I just ask you to repeat that figure, Mr.?
We don't see more than 300 people on that site at any one time. That's our best guess for PPF.
So 300, including staff and guests?
Sure.
Approximately. Okay. Okay, thank you. Does that answer your questions, Councillor?
Yeah, it does for those two. I did have a couple more, but I don't have others do. So.
I'd like to continue. Perhaps I'll go to Councillor Kaiser right now, and we'll return to you, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. actually, Councillor Lopez, a question in regards to the percentages. You said 12% of the property, but there was a mention of the fact that there is in the open space potential parking. So is that's not yet been determined, so I'm assuming that's not part of the 12%?
I think that's part of misinformation.
Okay.
In that open space designation, there exist existing parking lots today. And all we're saying is we want those recognized. They're at the north portion of the property, and the northeast section of the property, and those parking lots we want to recognize. There's some associated with the arts center that exists today. We want those recognized. We have no intention of setting up a new parking lot in the open space designation.
So thank you through you, Mr. Chair, for the line. So just for some clarity then, so you're saying the lots that we're speaking of are the ones that do appear on the plan in those open space areas, and it's not new additional lots?
It's not new additional lots.
So just what's acknowledged here on the plan. Okay, thank you.
Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, I would like to call another speaker, so I will revert my time back if there's anyone else who would like to question Mr. Hine.
Thank you. Councillor Zaletta.
Thanks again, Mr. Chair. Just one other question I had. There was a question mentioned by a speaker with looking for what's the outdoor space, like that porch that seems to be attached in front of the pavilion. What's the thought on the use for that space? That was a question asked. I'm curious to know.
It was never meant to be a gathering area or an area that events take place on. Or amphitheaters, we've heard. The large areas, the picture taking from my part, that's the only, except the natural entrance to the center. Certainly hasn't been set aside for a gathering area, hasn't been set aside for an event area. But certainly, picture taking will take place as the edge of the pavilion for weddings or events.
Any additional questions from Mr. Hine at this time? Seeing none, I'd like to ask Lord Mayor, who would you like to call forward?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'd like to call forward Mr. Jim Ryan from Christopher Court, if I may, please. Mr. Ryan, thank you very much. Certainly as a resident of Christopher Court, we've heard a number of speakers this evening that have expressed concerns because of their close proximity to the development proposed at Randwood. And you brought forward a proposal, if I recall, as you spoke, and you were in support to many of the items that are being expressed by the proponent. That is the 114-room accommodations, the spa, the 200-seat restaurant, the underground parking, the arts center, and the meeting rooms that would lie within the main structure. But you did request that you had three elements that you thought was a bit of a compromise between the abutting residents and the developer, and that was to remove the C1 zoning on the Devonian house, if I believe, and change the zoning to that to be accommodation site specific. Your second element was the event center, some 5,000 square feet, and outdoor space that, because of perhaps noise and additional parking requirements, that be removed. And the third was that site plan controls be in perpetuity no matter who may own the site. Have I got that somewhat correct?
That's very good.
Okay. In listening that you were speaking on behalf of your street, I was wondering, do you have a written a document that's supported by other members of your street that can be submitted this evening that will collaborate those points? I found those points to be very interesting. greatest impact was your street. I thought that when we look for resolve, that your area was one that would express the most concerns. And so I'm very interested, and I'm hoping that either tomorrow or something that you could provide town staff with that proposal in writing and with complimentary residential signatures. I see you have support, so maybe I should turn it over to you. I was to ask a question. I haven't even allowed you to speak yet, so.
Those who aren't here tonight, I can guarantee, are also supportive. This was a very difficult compromise for these people, and myself. A very, very difficult compromise.
I thank you very much, Mr. Chair. That's my comments. I don't know if anyone else may have a comment that's from council.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Are there any additional questions or clarification of any of the presenters this evening or of the advocate? Okay, seeing none, then I'm going to declare this public meeting closed. And well, the next steps, just so that members of the public are aware, we will be having a committee of the whole meeting next week, where we will be discussing the report which has been presented to us for consideration and that we've heard comments on this evening. Pending the results of our discussion next Monday night at Council Chambers, we may be in a position where we approve the report and its recommendations at the council meeting, which will be the week following. So I would encourage any of you who feel that you still have input that you wish to provide to us with regards to this process, contact any one of us or town staff between now and at the very least, the committee of the whole meeting next week and the council the following